Welcome to The Roofer Show with your host, Dave Sullivan. You found the podcast that helps roofing contractors grow their businesses, make more money, and have more free time.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Roofer Show podcast, the place to be if you want to grow a more profitable roofing business. I'm your host, Dave Sullivan, the Roofer Coach, and right next to me is John DeLaurier, Peach Roofing, and I'm looking at your little name here. Looks like you've done a little change. John D, Peach Master. What's going on, Peach Master?
Oh, I'm just fired up. We've been talking before we hit record about marketing, the dumb mistakes that I've made, the dumb mistakes that I see on Facebook. And hopefully this episode will help people who are just starting, thinking about starting, been in business for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, maybe struggling this year. Hopefully the mistakes that we have made, we can educate you on not to make those or not to continue to make those and prepare you to be successful. It's been a rough year for our business, but we've had some things turn around, and I think that we can talk about those things today and hopefully help people.
Well, they've been trying to hold you back, but I can see that this isn't going to work. So you are pissed, okay, which is great. And I want to hear this rant. So this is going to be your show. This is the John DeLaurier show. And this is what happens when he gets pissed off. So John, I normally would ask how you doing and so forth, but I think we're just going to jump into this. What are you so upset about? I mean, last week we spoke, you're living the dream, you're on vacation. We had all these guys on here. It was all good. What happened? And tell me about what's going on.
There's so many things. Nothing has really made me mad per se. I just think that a lot of people are just letting the industry get them down, or they're asking the wrong questions. It's just a dumpster fire on Facebook. Not just the normal feed, but all the roofing Facebook groups are a dumpster fire. The questions that are asked are the questions that you should already know the answer to. You need to be thinking about these things, researching them yourselves. Facebook is not your Google. You need to actually research for your own business and your own market. I guess this one's got me fired up, but I also want to help because I have made a lot of mistakes, and I continue to be imperfect in my business, and I don't have it figured out. But I do know that I see the majority of roofing contractors that are particularly newer. They're seeing this industry in the wrong light. And so, Dave, you always talk about sell work, do work, keep score. All these things matter. You have to build an actual business. You can't just focus on getting leads. We have talked about that till we're blue in the face. Listen to a bunch of other episodes about how we talk about leads don't make sales, sales don't make profit. We can talk about that all day long. You should have a why. You should understand why you're doing this, and it better be more than, I just want to make money. I was in a situation where I needed to make money. I didn't have a good situation starting my business. I didn't have a good brand. I didn't have a marketing plan. I didn't have a business plan. I get it. A lot of us have started in the roofing industry the same way. What you need to do is listen to people who've made the mistakes and not make those mistakes. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been wasted because I just didn't listen and implement those things so that I could prevent wasting all that money. And, stress too. I mean, it's horrible. The first few years were just absolutely abysmal. So yeah, that's the beginning of my rant. Anything to add, Dave, before I continue to rant?
Down, boy. All right. Down, Cujo. Yeah, let me add a couple of things there. I talk to a lot of contractors. We've got a free discovery call. So you can call me and talk about your business anytime. Set an appointment. Go to the website at theroofershow.com. Set a time and let's chat. I'd love to hear about your business, what you got going. But I'll tell you, and it is a little harsh because probably, I wouldn't say 50%, but almost half of the people that I talk to, contractors, entrepreneurs thinking of going into contracting, these guys should not be in business. They should be working for somebody else. And they just don't have that entrepreneurial mindset. They don't have the cash means, which you gotta have. And I can just see that there's no way these guys are going to make it. And I tell them, I said, my advice to you is don't do it. Because particularly now, it's really tough. We did a how to start up a business from scratch episode, a month or two ago. And we talked about this and how much more difficult it is to start a business today than it was, back 5, 6, 7 years ago when you started up, and what we see. It was great. There was so much business out there that fish were jumping into the boat. You didn't have all these problems. Now it's pretty tough, and you need cash. That was the big thing that we talked about. So, that's it. It's too bad, but that's the harsh reality. And as you're talking about these guys on Facebook and so forth, it's just, a lot of these guys shouldn't be in business, as we were talking about. But I've been holding you back long enough here. Let's hear some more from John.
Quote of the day: Layla Hormozi, Alex Hormozi's wife, also extremely successful, worth lots of money. Posted it today. If you want your day to go as planned, don't own a business.
I like it.
And that is something I posted today in my stories. I may be a little feisty right now. Things are actually going well. We're still not hitting the marks that we need to hit, the goals that we've set for this year by any means, but things are going well for our business. Proline's doing well. Peach Roofing's doing well. We're doing well. I have really high standards. I think a lot of this, maybe frustration comes from other people who are undercutting or lowballing in this industry. I see a new, quote, roofing company pop up all the time. And I know this is a tale as old as time. I get it. What I'm seeing, this is bad for homeowners. And we have a deep empathy and care for the people that we serve. We've been in business since 2016. We're not going anywhere. I've been in the roofing industry for 15 years. I am committed to this industry. A lot of people will just work it for a season or 2 seasons, get audited, and then go out of business. That's the majority of roofing contractors. So it's really hard. Your days will not go well. They may go okay. It's very difficult, though, to get to the point where just every day's peachy keen and rainbows and butterflies.
Well, all we got to do is look at the numbers, and this is what I tell these guys. First thing you got to realize that the cards are stacked against you. I mean, the statistics are just unbelievable. Depending on who you listen to, Chamber of Commerce or whatever, it's all over the place. But bottom line is that 80-90% of roofing businesses will be out of business within the first 5 years. Those are the statistics. So how are you going to beat those odds? And that's the question. How are you going to be better? How are you going to be good enough to do that, to succeed as you have, to continue to thrive like so many of the contractors that we work with? However, we work with others that are just struggling. I'm just trying to keep their head above water right now. And it's tough. And I can see that some of these guys just aren't going to make it. So there's my one thought of the day there. So go ahead, John. Rant away.
It's true, though. So I can put myself in that situation, the scenario and the statistic. I shouldn't have made it statistically by any means. I did have luck. I do know there's some common themes, though. People that do make it. The book Relentless. Just Google it. It's the coach for Kobe Bryant. If you're Kobe Bryant's coach wrote this book called Relentless, you have to have that in you. I read that book 5 years after I was in business. I was already doing things that were very relentless. If you don't have that, if you think that there's a plan B, if you're relying on your spouse's income, you're not making it. You're just not going to make it. Like there's into the story. It's too hard. You have to have I wouldn't say Mamba mentality. You just have to find what that is for yourself, and you can never give up. There is no plan B, and you have to execute everything you're going to do. Listen to 17 podcasts by the Roofer Coach like I did. I'm looking at tons of books that I've read on my desk right now. You can't just do the thing that you think you can do. You have to do way extra and more than you've ever thought. So
we call that burning the ships. I didn't make that up, but really is, because there is no way back. You're committing. And if you're not going to commit, that cash, the money that you're putting on the line, everything, the risk that you're taking is huge.
Yeah, there is no fun for years. My family did not go on a vacation for years. We did not have money. Statistically, we should be out of business. We didn't have any money. In fact, I was owed a bunch of money. We had already burned through our savings when I started the business. This was not easy. This was the beginning of like a really bad situation is what it was. And we just buckled down, and I invested and reinvested and said, I'm not going to buy any nice things. I'm not going to buy everything. All my apparel still is. Everything I wear is like business stuff. There was no vacations for, I think, 4 or 5 years. None. Like if we wanted to go on vacation, somebody else had to provide a place for us to go, and we can go for a weekend or something like that. This is the life that you have chosen. There is no option there unless you have a ton of cash from the beginning. And we talked about this. We talked about this several weeks ago, a couple months ago.
Yeah, no,
the number is well over $100,000 cash. Well over $100,000 cash. It depends on the market that you're in, but at least $100,000 of cash money that you have, that you are extremely intelligent on how to allocate that money. Then you increase your chances drastically. But if you don't have that, like I didn't have, I was owed money by my previous employer. You better fight really, really hard for several years. So let's get into what I all see, and Dave and I see all the time. I want more leads. I want more leads. I want more sales. And we can talk about sell work, do work, keep score. You do have to know how to price jobs. It's really important. It's hand in hand.
First, let's just say, I started this show. John and I get together and say, okay, what's the plan here? Yeah, and I had, 25.
You had
business
tons
tips.
of topics. Yeah, you had all these tips, and I'm like, nah.
I got all this. I wrote all these things down. All of these things that just fire off. That these are the things that you can do. If you take 3 of these and implement them,
yep,
it'd be great. But no, I couldn't hold John back. So it's great. But now those that are still with us, the others that, haven't, found a parking spot on the bridge, we're going to turn this around, and this is going to be helpful stuff. And you're actually going to get some great information that's going to help your business be more profitable. That's the plan.
That is the plan. So hopefully I can nail it down. Dave will reel me in, and we'll talk about my rants, but then with the caveat of intelligent planning and how to make that. Everyone wants those freaking leads and the sales. Let's make those count. Let's make those be profitable. Let's talk about what it takes. And it's not easy to make all those things happen all together. To sell work, do work, keep score all together that's the secret sauce. It's not any of those one things alone. It's all 3 of those together. And then I'd add even more. You have administration and accounting that also help with that. So there's really 5 components to every business, and you can argue with me or not, but sales, nothing happens till you make a sale. But if you don't know how to price the job, then you've done nothing. You've done literally not, and actually you've hurt yourself. If you make a sale and you don't understand production and you don't understand the accounting side of things, you just quit now. So you have to know all these components.
I had this discussion with Tommy Mello, who was on the show here a while back, and everything, he says, just start marketing. You got to get, leads, sales, which is true. However, if you're just out there firing off quotes and you don't know what your numbers are, you don't know what your costs are.
Yep.
You're just going to lose money faster. The more work you do, the faster you're going to lose that $100,000 that you started with. And that's what happens. The reason contractors go out of business, that 80-90%, they just run out of cash. That's it. You don't have the cash to pay your vendors, your people, so on and so forth, and it's gone. Poof, end of story. So I was talking about how, first off, you've got to know your numbers, your pricing. How are you going to price these jobs? Well, what does everybody do? Well, the market's about $450 a square, so I'm going to do what does that have to do with your cost structure or anything else? And not only that, but you're going to follow all the rest of the guys. Those are the 80-90% of the guys that are going to go out of business. Why would you price your work the same way? You need to know those numbers. And if you're not prepared to learn those and really get down and understand them, listen to the things that we teach, you're not going to be successful, because you're going to pricing jobs. The number one reason, why you run out of cash is because they price their jobs too cheap. They don't understand what their costs are, and they're cutting their prices, and every job they do is losing money, and you can't understand, why there's no money in the bank. That's the reason. Increase your prices. One of the first things that I do when I'm coaching, I say, I don't even need to know anything about your business. Raise your prices 10% right now. I couldn't do that. I won't get any jobs. Oh, really? Have you ever tried it? Well, they try it, and sure enough, they continue to get the same amount of work. So anyway, that's the big thing. Get your prices up and learn to sell, learn to differentiate yourself, and give your prospects a reason to buy from you, even though you're 10, even 20% higher than your competition, because you're worth it. Hit it, John.
Love it. Okay, so this is a all-encompassing thing that we talk about a lot. You have to know your why. Is part of your why, I want to build a business that can run without me, that runs smoothly, that doesn't just survive, but it actually thrives and grows. If that's your why, keep listening. If you're one of the guys that are like, oh, I don't want to rip my customers off and blah, 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 you don't know your numbers. And I see you on Facebook all the time selling your freaking jet skis, selling your boats that you can't afford, selling your old trucks, selling your equipment, all the crap that you need to run your business. You're selling it because you price your jobs too low. Oh, I don't want to rip off my customers. You don't know your numbers. You think that you're ripping people off. You're not, because you don't understand your numbers. And so this is me ranting hardcore because I see it so much. These same guys are quote beating us on jobs, and then they can't pay their suppliers because their suppliers tell us, and then they're selling their equipment on Facebook Marketplace. So who's winning here? Guess who's losing? The customer. The homeowner's losing. They think that they're getting such a great deal when this person just is going to keep floundering around in the roofing space. Oh no, but I can do everything. I can lay tile. I can do concrete. I can cut down trees. That is not a roofing professional. If you're that guy is like, I'm just going to be busy, this is not your podcast. You need to understand the types of people that we're talking to that want to be roofing professionals and have a long, positive impact for their neighbors and their community. That's what we're talking to. We're not talking to anybody else. So knowing your numbers is part of that. That's how you price jobs. That's how you give your salespeople confidence, because they understand. You be transparent with your salespeople. Hey, guess what? Insurance is super expensive. This is why we have to price at this profit margin. This is why this roof that we're selling is making $10,000 of profit. It's not. That's gross profit to cover your overhead. Be transparent with your entire team. If you do that, you give everyone confidence, including yourself, and you stay in business and you serve your customers long term. That's my short rant. Dave, take it.
Well, you're exactly right. And this is the reason why you need to charge the right price, because you need to make profit so you can hire the best people. Okay. Whether they're in sales, whether they're roofers or your subs, you want to be able to hire the best people. And that means you're going to have to pay more. You want to have the best marketing. Okay. Most contractors do not spend any money on marketing, and they can't understand why their business is stuck in the mud. We talk about this all the time. I mean, just as a general rule of thumb, 5% of your sales is a number that you can use for a marketing budget.
So to start, that's $50,000 a year for marketing. If you're going to do $1 million, it's $50,000. It really needs to be higher than that, because you should be able to sell more than $1 million in today's market with the cost of roofs. So just know, Dave said 5%. It's $50,000 minimum that you're spending on marketing.
Here's the other thing that I want to, since we're talking numbers, this is something that drives me nuts. Is one of the first questions I throw out is just, hey, okay, great, you're doing all these sales. Not that interested. Are you making money? Okay, that's what matters. Oh, yeah, I'm making money. Yeah, it's real profitable. Okay, I'll look at their financials. You're not making money. Okay, you're not making the money that you should for the risk that you're taking. And it is risky. So you need to have a higher return. So again, good rule of thumb. This is really just broad, but owner's compensation. This is your salary, and you've got to take a regular salary, and this is an overhead expense. Let me explain this. Let's say you're doing $2 million. Well, 200 grand, let's say, is just simple. That would be an owner's compensation as a salary, because if you're not there, you're going to have to pay 200 grand at least to have somebody come in and replace you. That's how we need to look at it. Okay. So as an overhead, part of your overhead, 10% for owner's salary. Now, I'm not talking about, things are different when we do our tax returns. And I don't want to get too far off into the weeds, but we are talking about management reporting. Okay. When we talk about our bookkeeping, we want a financial statement every month by the 15th. If you're not doing that, you're going to have a hard time running a good business. Okay. Financial statement by the 15th. And that's our management reporting. Now, what it says on your tax return is a different thing. So that is taxes. And hopefully you've got a good tax accountant, tax attorney that is saving you a ton of money, because we should be making a lot of money in this industry. And it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And there's so many rules and laws that we should be taking advantage of as contractors, because there's a lot of them, and you need somebody that understands that. Okay, so that's our 10% salary. Now, we've paid all our expenses, as John was talking about. Now we come to the bottom line. What's our net profit? That should be another 10%. 10% net profit on the whole thing. So that's a well-run company. Some companies are much higher than that. However, if you're one of those companies, though, that says, hey, I'm making 15% net profit, well, what are you taking home as salary? Well, I don't take a salary. It's like, okay, you're not particularly profitable. This is what knowing your numbers is all about. So run your company. If you're not hitting those numbers, you're not running a solid, strong business. Okay. And this is what we do is we help you hit those numbers. We can help you shave those points off of your costs, improve your margins, and get to those numbers. That's what it's all about. I think I was done with that.
It's good though. So you can argue about all these numbers with us all day long. Oh, my market wouldn't allow that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. You need to be in these ranges. Maybe it's 8% is what your take home, your salary is. That's fine. I did that for a long time. 8%, it's fine for the Southeast. Totally fine. $80,000 used to be tons of money when I started in 2016. So that was fine. I would say understand your numbers so that you can understand each job you're making margin on. You understand, okay, these are the things I have to make money. This is the actual dollars that I have to make on each job with the margin. Then continually, not one time, but continually understand your actual overhead each month. Do you have an office space? Do you have internet? Do you have truck payments? These things that come every single month. You have to understand that so that you know what the minimum you have to sell each month on average over the 12-month window. You have to, and don't say, well, I know it's seasonal. Yeah. Okay. So then you have to even it out. You have to figure that out. What number of roofs? My average roof is $10,000. My average profit is $3,500. That's 35% margin. We have that in there, and that's going to pay for all the things that Dave just said for most people. Okay. Well, you have to know your overhead. So how many I call them $3,500 roofs because I don't care about the money that I have to pay out. I care about the money that I take home. So how many $3,500 roofs do I have to sell each month on average to just cover my overhead, which includes my salary? These are things you have to think about that I did not do in the beginning. That's how you have to think about your business. Well, I don't have any leads. This is where I was going to start the whole thing, Dave.
Well, before you do,
freaking lead.
Before you do, I just lost my my thought here.
It was about to go on a super rant, and you felt it coming.
Yeah, I know it did. You scared me. So I'm going to let you just go ahead, and maybe I'll come back and
just cut in if I have
cut in anytime. Okay.
All right.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Constant. And I made these mistakes constantly. I'll be as kind as possible. Constantly I see in all these Facebook groups is best paid lead source, best blah, blah, blah. How do I get more leads? You do not realize how much it costs to acquire a customer. I did not know how much it costs to acquire a customer. You think, okay, this leads $80. This leads $115. That's not how much it costs to acquire the customer. There are so many factors. If you are paying, everybody asks about a stinking pay-per-click marketing agency, and they're not understanding that makes your acquisition costs, your CAC, your customer acquisition costs, well over $1,000, probably closer to $1,500 per customer that you actually acquire. And you're like, that's not right. We won't get into that. Listen to Brad Akers. He will break it down for you, and you will be shocked. If you're paying
that on the show, we had Brad on the show here. So look that up, and you'll find out. I was surprised. I mean, I was flabbergasted actually at the cost to acquire a customer. Now it's different than what you're paying for a lead, okay?
Correct.
Or an inquiry,
because it ties into your close rate. It ties in okay, how many of these leads does it take to actually sell a job, and then that is your acquisition cost, and then your $3,500 roofs turn into $2,000 roofs because you just spent $1,500 to get that customer, and now you only have $2,000 left over. That's a whole nother thing. But this is why getting new leads is not necessarily the answer. It's so much deeper than this. my advice to everyone, whether you've been in business just starting out a year in, 5 years, whatever it is, I'm doing this right now. We're starting our 9th year right now. We're trying to lower our acquisition costs because it's too expensive to acquire customers right now in a very downturned economy. Yeah, we can get referrals. We get those all the time, and those acquisition costs is way lower. I get it. But for a marketing effort, you need to be using yard signs, door hangers, maybe door knocking, wrapping your vehicles with at least vinyl. Spend $600-800 wrapping it with professional vinyl. Do not drive around with not an unmarked vehicle. It is not cool. You are not cool. You are losing. You have not committed. You have a plan B in your life. Going back to what I was saying before, you have not completely
magnetic signs.
Yeah, do not do that. It drives my wife crazy because they're like, well, I can't hide from anybody. That's the point. I want everyone to see. We're going to spend $20,000 this year, $19,000 this year on wrapping vehicles. I know people spend way more than that. I'm just saying that's a lot for us. And that's how important it is. We've always done like the vinyl, professional vinyl, $600-800. Now we're talking about thousands of dollars per vehicle because we want everyone to see us all the time. And I know a lot of people have already gone down that road, be really smart about branding. We won't even get into that, the branding part of things, but talking about marketing and talking about lower acquisition costs to that marketing. I'm
going to jump in here real quick.
Go.
Well, I tell this story all the time, so don't roll your eyes at me. But, I had my roof done. I had my roof done here a few years back. Okay. And I don't know who to call. I mean, I was in commercial roofing, so I don't really know any of the guys, in the area. So my wife goes out, calls some guys up. We get, 3-4 quotes. They all look the same. I mean, I can't even tell the difference. And we set them aside because we were busy. A couple of months go by. We got to do something about that. If one of those guys had called me and followed up and said, hey, we should really get this job going. What do we need to do? I would have said, let's go. Just do it. Okay. I got to get this thing off my plate. Now we do our job and I didn't know anybody and I'm driving around our neighborhood and here's this guy getting his, neighbor getting his roof done. Okay. I look at this and go, well, who's doing it? No signs, no anything. Okay. A couple of weeks later, there's another neighbor getting their roof done. I go, who's doing that? No signs, no anything. But it was a different contractor. Third house, getting the roof done. Again, different contractor. I didn't know who they were. The point being is if one professional company had said, okay, Dave, we're going to do your roof. Then they put yard signs up. They send postcards out to all of these neighbors in the neighborhood. Hey, we're in your neighborhood. Come by and check us out at this address. We'd love to get, do a roof inspection and so forth. They would have gotten 4 additional jobs probably. And this is what we're talking about. We come into a neighborhood. Our goal is to get 1 additional job in that neighborhood for every one that we do. Now, and that's what we're talking about. How do you lower your acquisition cost? That's how you do it. I mean, just look at, how much more business you're going to do from just doing that. These are the things, the low-hanging fruit that John's talking about by truck wraps, yard signs, door hangers, all of these things. It's just doing them though. And here are 3 guys, three yo-yos. They didn't do any of that. They would have had so much more business, and the same with the average contractor. So that's my story. I'm done.
It's a great story though. It's use very clear yard signs. We just redesigned ours again. It's literally just our logo as big as possible. We have 2 different kinds of yard signs. One is just the logo, nothing else. Peach Roofing. There's no call to action. There's no phone number. There's nothing. That's just a brand awareness yard sign. Then we have another yard sign with just the logo. And then it says get instant estimate with a QR code. You can argue however you want to do. You can put a phone number, a website, whatever you want to do. Make it very clear, Very simple, easy to take action, and be consistent. The number of people that do not put yard signs in yards is wild.
It's crazy.
Or put them in really crappy places. Don't put them in straight. Don't think about the placement so people can drive and walk by. Don't put them at the entrances of neighborhoods. Don't put them in like, you don't have to go crazy like we do, but I think you should go crazy with yard signs. Especially if you're just starting out and you have no budget, you should go crazy with yard signs. Depending on your market, depending on what's allowed in your state, you should go crazy with yard signs. Most of the United States allows for all this. I know we're talking to lots of different types of people, but yard signs are just a phenomenal way that we have actually sold roofs. I saw your yard signs everywhere. I'm going to go into the second little thing that we just started again. We have used this in the past. It's called blip billboards. So BLIP. Look it up. It's nationwide. We're currently spending $20.38 a day. And these are smaller electronic billboards. They go for 8 to 10 seconds on a rotation every minute. We have absolutely tracked the lead source and sold jobs from these very inexpensive billboards that give you significant credibility at a very low acquisition cost. Now, we're on pace to spend. We have 13 billboards in Georgia right now. We have very targeted locations in Athens and very targeted locations in Savannah. Guess what? We also go into those neighborhoods where people drive by the billboards and put yard signs and hang door hangers. That further increases your impressions for those potential customers. These are just very inexpensive ways that you should be doing business. You want the attention. Attention is the most important thing, opposed to any press is good press, bad press. That's not true. You don't want to have a bad impression. You don't want to have a bad review, but you do need to kind of ride that line. These yard signs are annoying. That's fine. Guess what? They're still going to call you. They must be everywhere. They're doing business everywhere. That works. Human nature is like that. We can run all kinds of statistics about politics and how many people whoever has the most yard signs out in yards, they usually win. Almost every single state, every district, whoever has the most yard signs for that candidate wins just because it's recognizable. So yard signs work because human nature is the same. The door hangers the same way. Very inexpensive. Make them simple. Make them show value, but easy call to action and never stop. We didn't talk about postcards yet. That's a whole nother thing. We can target the same neighborhoods. These are just some things that I see. Anyone can start a roofing business, but you have to know how to spend the money in the right way. And these are very inexpensive ways that you can market and win. Whether you've been in business 0 days or 10 years, doing these things lowers your acquisition costs, increases your profit margins. And again, I've said this a bunch of times, but helps you profit, helps you keep your promises to your homeowners, to your salespeople, to your crews, to your suppliers, and profit helps you stay in business so you can keep all those promises for a long, long time. And that's what we talk about: selling work, doing work, keeping score, being as profitable as possible so that you can keep all those promises.
Love it. Now, we've also got to be able to track these things. There's no point in throwing money, and this is what happens too often. You're throwing money, giving it to an agency. You have no idea. Most of the guys I talk to, they have no idea what they're spending money on or what their numbers are, what's working, what's not working. And that's the whole thing. An example is the billboard. Now, I remember, John, this is going way back when we first started working together. You were doing billboards in your other location, and they were working great, but then you stopped it. What was that about?
Yeah, dumb. I'm dumb. Don't do that. Keep doing it. Yeah, don't do that. Figure it out. Keep it in your budget. It becomes part of your marketing budget. The 50,000, whatever it is, the number, it needs to be in there. And it was so cheap. I remember it was $500 a day, $500 for 3 of these billboards every month. And now I'm spending $600 or more for the same impact, it is, yeah, I would have been grandfathered in. They're not going to raise the price on me. I would have been a consistent customer. I would have kept my marketing dollars lower. And I regret stopping doing that. Like it's don't be like me. And then what's the phrase? Try it and give up or whatever. Like, be strategic. Don't do this. Another example. Don't send out 3,000 postcards and then just hope for the best. That's not a good strategy. Send out 300 postcards, maybe 4 to 8 times, depending. We've found 4 times is the minimum, but it's the right number because we get feedback from those homeowners that say, are you meaning to send all these? And like, yes, we are. We send them every week, 4 times. And they're 4 different postcards. And guess what? They remember us. These are people that are like, I know I need my roof done next year. Yeah, you do. And guess what? You have 4 of our postcards, and you're going to see our yard signs, and you're going to see our billboards. You're never going to forget about us. And we're going to keep targeting you. And you're going to be in our ProLine automations, and we're not going to stop texting and emailing you. Like, these are all things it takes to lower your acquisition costs and to sell more jobs.
This is low-hanging fruit. These are the first things that you should be doing. Not spending a bunch of money on Facebook ads and PPC and all
don't
this
do that.
crap.
Don't
do that. Don't do that. Unless you're doing all of these things first and you're doing them consistently. And let's talk about one other thing that makes a huge difference, which is reviews. Working on your GMB page or whatever it is now, but your Google My Business page.
Business profile.
Right. No, I can never remember that. But when you look at, if you can get in that map pack, the top 3, you're going to get a ton of leads. And there's all kinds of ways to do that, being consistent. But the big one is getting reviews. Most guys don't get reviews because they don't ask. They don't have a process for getting those reviews. But reviews are very valuable. They're huge. Adding content to your GMB page, photos, staying on top of that. Again, it's just being consistent and putting these things out and making improvements. You don't have to spend a lot of money on SEO. I believe you got to do some SEO, keep the costs really low, but you need to be doing some things and you need to be optimizing constantly your website. This is one problem that we do, because one of the first things I do when I take on a client is we do a website audit. Okay. Simple. You can see the basic things. And half these websites, Google doesn't even know you exist. Okay. Because they can't read it. They don't see it when it gets crawled. So these are the basics. You don't have to, most audits are free, to do these. These are the things that matter. All of these little things, you have to do these first. Get your citations right. All of that, those little things that aren't glamorous. None of this stuff is all that exciting, but it is the basic blocking and tackling of your business. And you have to do this, and you have to do it consistently. Okay?
Totally true.
Do we have anything else, or shall we wrap this up? Because, I'm exhausted just listening to you.
Let's recap, Dave.
I love it. Yeah.
Sell work,
give us a recap.
Sell work, do work, keep score, all connected. We talk about this forever. If you listen to the podcast at all, that's all we talk about. It's all connected. You can't just do one of them. It doesn't work. Understand that your customer acquisition cost is more than you think if you're just going to start throwing money at it. That can be billboard campaigns. That can be hiring a marketing agency. That can be paying for SEO. All those things make your customer acquisition costs really high. So how do you combat that? How do you win? How do you get customers? First of all, those other things are not guaranteeing customers. They may guarantee some activity, some sales activity, or some leads, but it doesn't mean you're going to get customers. And it's just going to make your acquisition costs even higher. So do the things that Brad Akers talks about. They're very inexpensive. Be very strategic about where you put the yard signs, where you do door hangers, where you door knock, where you put postcards. That is the best way for a brand new company or a well-established company to acquire customers in a very professional way that lets them know that you have a service that they need. We talk about this a lot. We talk about Ruby. I'll go into answering your phone. Be prepared.
Please.
Be prepared. You might get what you ask for. You need to have a process to receive new leads. You need to have a pre-qualification process to receive new leads. And it better not be your phone like it was mine. Hire a Ruby receptionist very beginning. I believe it's $230 a month, $250 a month, the lowest package. They're going to be friendly. They're going to be a real person. They're going to answer the phone during your business hours. Hire Ruby, very bare minimum. I wish I had done that from the beginning. If you can't afford $250 a month, just quit now. You need to have somebody hiring. It can be your spouse, but I don't recommend that. I think that it needs to be a professional company that understands your name, the weather, and it can schedule an appointment for you to go to inspect their roof. The next step is SMA. SMA is great. They're a virtual assistant firm that's specifically targeted for roofers. We use them at Peach Roofing. We use Ruby Receptionist for a long time, for years and years because of Dave's show. Now we use SMA. That's the next step up. A dedicated team member, Kathleen, is who we have. She's awesome. I won't go into that, but that's the next step. That's an affordable way to have somebody who's dedicated to your team who understands even more intricacies of your business. The next step would be hiring a full-time in-house person. They answer all your phones and everything like that. My son is about to knock on the door right now. That will be the next step. Be prepared to receive the leads. I won't go into all the details of like pre-qualification. A lot of times we get those questions. What are the questions for pre-qualification? You know the common questions that you get. Make sure those people are asking those questions every single time so you're actually able to serve that customer. Sell work, do work, keep score. Talk about all these lead sources. Be prepared to take the leads. I won't even get into presentation. I won't even get into the sales process. That's just the tip of the iceberg for what I see as problems. People are not prepared and they don't have a marketing plan. They don't have a why, like from the one-page business plan you can download on theroofershow.com.
Mm-hmm.
You need to prepare before you just go out and try to sell things. It doesn't work that way. You have to prepare. You're a business owner. It is multifaceted. You have to view it that way. There is no other option. Whether you're like, I'm never going to build a business so I can sell. That's fine. You still can't escape the fact that you're a business owner and you're going to have to run it with all these components. Whether you're like a one-man show forever, you still have to address all these issues. You have to figure out a way that it all works. Otherwise, you'll work 100 hours a week forever and you'll be like, what am I doing? Just go work for somebody else. It doesn't make sense to do that. I'll stop ranting. I just think that I hope some of these topics that we talked about will help you maybe prevent some mistakes that we've made, maybe give you ideas of how to improve your business and just have a better life. I mean, we're in this, we don't want to just look, we want to be known as the roof guy, right? It's true. But we also want to do other things and not just work 80 hours a week. So whatever that looks like for you, I hope this helped. I think Dave and I love doing this. We love ranting, even though we're joking about it. And we want people to go into business that should be going into business. And we want to help you guys be successful. Join our mastermind. It's super helpful. It's been helpful for me personally, but we meet every week. Here's the difference. I have not said this, I don't think, recently. Everybody's got a mastermind and a guru, blah, blah, blah. Fine. Choose any of them. I don't care. What makes our mastermind different is that we keep it to small quantity of contractors who are non-competing. So what does small mean? 8 to 10. Usually there's 6 to 8 people in the group every week. The reason we want that, it's not beneficial to us. We could have 50 to 100 people in there. that's not beneficial to us financially. But it's more impactful for the people that are in there because they can address their own individual issues. And hopefully when they're talking about their issues, it ties into somebody else's issue and it helps them too. So all these people from all over the country are able to help each other, and the friendships that they're making, they're really changing each other's lives by these masterminds. Do that. Find a mastermind that has small number of people. That's what I'd say. It can be ours. That's fine. We'd love to have you. We want to grow to at least a few more groups, but we're going to keep it small on purpose because we want to make an actual real impact. Because most of the people, Dave, if I'm not mistaken, have been with us for a long time. I don't think there's a lot of people. For a long time. Yeah, there's not a lot of people. I don't know what the number of months. I mean, it feels like a year.
A couple of years, I think. And it's great because we all know each other. It's really turned into some a great group of guys. So I love it. All right. Anything else before we wrap?
No, that's it. Enough ranting today.
I love it. But you are exactly right. It's a holistic approach to the business. Remember, it doesn't matter if you're selling shoes or selling roofs. You are in business, and you better understand that business. And that involves the numbers, really understanding the business end of the business, the three-legged stool, keeping in balance, as John said. Sell work, do work, keep score. That stool has got to be solid, just like everything in our business. The holistic approach. That's how you run a profitable business. That's how you can take that 2-week vacation. That's where you're not working weekends and nights, and you're able to step away from the business because you've built it in such a way that it doesn't rely on just you. And really, that's what it's about. Check out last week's podcast with Scott T-Bay and the three of us. We talked about all of this, all of us just happen to be on vacation. It's a great show, how to run your business and not have to be there all the time. Because really, that's what it's all about. All right. Well, John, that was great. I appreciate it. Now you're all fired up. Go out there and sell some roofs. And thanks for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you next week on The Roofer Show.